Hello and welcome to our next session. And a big thank you to the sponsor of this stage, Kaltura. And I am delighted now to welcome our next speaker, Maria Graell from Jugo. And just to say, you can ask questions if you just scan the QR code on there, and then you can ask questions throughout. They'll show up on the screen, or we can come around afterwards to ask questions as well. Obviously everything is also being transcribed there as well from another partner of ours. So over to you, Maria.
Thank you. Hello everyone. I'm very excited to be here, to be learning about, can you hear me? Yeah? Good? No? Yep? All right. I'm very excited to be here learning about event technology. And today during this session, we will discuss 3 event technology trends that every marketing leader needs to know. So a little bit about me. My name is Maria Graell. I lead marketing for Jugo. We're an immersive communications platform. And for the past 12 years, I've been in marketing, worked in all the different companies that you see on screen. And just like you, I'm sure that you've seen a huge evolution when it comes to virtual events, right? When I started, we had the odd webinar here and there, and virtual events have become more and more important, as we all know, especially that's been accelerated during the pandemic. And so before we get into the virtual events landscape, before we get into the 3 event technology trends that you should be looking out for, I will play you a little video of Jugo. So it's clear, obviously we're at Event Tech Live, right? It's clear that virtual events are here to stay. And these are really popular because, as you all know, I mean, it's very easy for you to attend these. When I have a lot of colleagues that when they had to move from in-person to virtual events during the pandemic, they saw their attendance, I mean, they tripled their attendance goals. You can boost global reach, you're saving costs. All of your marketeers, you know how expensive it is to put in-person events together. You have to think about venue, about catering, about branding. There's so many things that you have to pay for, and we don't have that with virtual events. And finally, we're still able to get sponsorships, just like we do with in-person events. And despite how great virtual events are, we all keep on hearing about 2 main challenges. So the first one is audience engagement. People say that individuals are not as engaged in virtual events compared to in person. And the second one is interaction. It's more difficult to interact, right? It's a lot more difficult. Now you can go from booth to booth, you can be talking to people. Maybe you cannot do that with virtual events. And the second, sorry. Oh, it's coming from there? Okay. All right. And so the second, all right, I'll continue. Good to go now. So when we look at the first problem, right, we've normalized this. I have a lot of colleagues, hey, the audience was not engaged, and they'll say, well, it was a virtual event, that's normal. And we need to take a step back And we need to realize that there are ways for us to alleviate or eliminate this problem. Because the second stat that I want you to look at is that in our community, we have 41% of marketeers that are using Zoom for virtual events, followed by Microsoft Teams. Think about that. Right? Think about the correlation with lack of audience engagement, lack of interaction, and then 70% of us have these experiences as virtual events, which we all know these are not platforms that are built for interaction and engagement, right? These are very limited experiences. And unfortunately, limited is not going to cut it in today's world because it is very competitive. And we are living in the experience economy, right? Most of us will have positive feelings about a brand if we attend good events, good experiences. And most of us will also want to purchase from a company if we participate in their brand experiences. Now, a lot of companies are doing this really well with physical goods. Think about Apple, right? Think about Tesla. They do that really well. And no matter how good your content is, if you have a poor experience, your content will not be heard. So content is king, but experience is queen, right? We need to have a good experience if we want to deliver good events. So now let's go into the 3 event technology trends that you should be looking at when you want to put together, when you want to deliver good virtual experiences. So the first one is personalization. And when I talk about personalization, I'm referring to branded spaces. How do you make sure that your brand is represented in virtual experiences? And as I was mentioning before, Apple does this really well, right? From the tablet to the iPhone to the Mac to going to shop something at their stores, they are infusing the brand ethos at every consumer touch point. Tesla does the same, right? And they grow loyalty through experiences. They make you want to buy from them through experiences. So how do we take that into virtual events? So that instead of delivering a plain experience, you deliver something that looks like this, right? This is one of our customers, Arsenal Football Club. They use Jugo for fan engagement experiences. So when fans step into this environment, you see the colors, the symbols, the logos. They understand, they feel something. They feel part of the Arsenal community, right? So this is really important to make people feel part of your brand during virtual experiences. This is another example. WPP, they are the largest one of the largest advertising agencies in the world. And the way they use virtual experiences is internally and externally. Right? They have their brainstorming sessions because they want every employee to step into a virtual world that reminds them of what the mission is. And they do the same for when they present to their customers their proposals, because it's important for them to showcase that they understand brands and that they want to offer that brand experience. So let's go into the second event technology trend, immersion. We hear immersion a lot, right? How many of you think about VR headsets or avatars when we think about immersion? Right, I see some people raising their hands. So this is not what I'm referring to. In gaming, it's really good to have fully virtual worlds, right? But when it comes to business, when it comes to getting in touch with your clients, with your consumers, the sweet spot is a mixed reality, right? You have virtual reality worlds with avatars, and then you have mixed reality where you take real humans and you put them into a virtual world. And I'll show you an example of what I mean. Another client of ours, PSG, is a football club in Paris, and we had recently Kylian Mbappé, one of their top players, join and get immersed into our virtual reality. And I want you to see his reaction. And remember how we were discussing that the problems are engagement and interaction, right?
From all around the world, and that's the first time I see that, the live from all the fans around the world. So I say hello to everybody. I see some kids. I see some.
Say hello in the live. Say hello.
That's something great. That's something great, and to see the love from the fans, from everybody. That's something that's really come from the heart and give so much power to the team and to the club.
So you can see how he could see the fans, right? And also check out the different angles from the right shot to the left, bird's eye view. Before I worked for Jugo, if I saw this, I would have thought either it's very expensive or they have a studio. And that's why I want to show you the behind the scenes, because you can see here that all they had was a laptop. They decided to put on a ring light and two big screens just because the event lasted a couple hours. But really the only thing they needed was a laptop for that immersion, right? Because with Unreal Engine, with NVIDIA, you can now do that with just internet and your laptop, and you can be delivering amazing virtual experiences. And if you notice, they don't have any virtual green screens. They are just in a room, which brings me to the third event technology trend for you to look out for, which is AI. Obviously, ChatGPT, I mean, AI has penetrated through every single aspect of technology, but it is critical when it comes to virtual events. As I was mentioning, there's many different use cases, right? But you've got AI green screens where the AI cuts you and puts you into the virtual world. You have AI voice translation. Let's say you're having an event in France and your subject matter expert only speaks English. You can have that person deliver a presentation in English and just activate AI voice translation so people can hear it in their native language. You have AI noise cancellation, AI for lighting, right? Where you are, the AI is adjusting your light to make sure that everyone looks like they are in the same room virtually. So again, these are the three event technology trends. If you really want to deliver good virtual experiences, you need to think about immersion, you need to think about personalization, branding spaces, and you need to think about AI, how that can enhance your experiences. And now I will move on to show you another real world case, and that is, we work with iHeart. It's a radio station, right? You all know iHeart, and they have a radio show with Tino, and this is one of the fastest growing radio shows in the United States. It's huge with the Latino community, and after he had the experience, he said, you know, this was a really, really unique experience, and I'll just play you a short video.
Boy, guys, we did it. 13,000 people logged in right now. Woo! What's funny is, like, normally, like, we'll go on Instagram Live and we'll do whatever little thing, and we don't see anyone's reaction, right? We just come in and do our thing. When I jump in now and I'm like, yo, yes, every 13,000, not one person smiled. So it's a little dagger to the heart, but we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. We'll vibe out, and we're gonna catch. It's gonna be a good time. I'm excited to have you here.
Right, so it's interesting how he mentions that when he does Instagram Lives, right, going back to the problem with audience engagement interaction, he never sees who's listening to him. And now for the first time, he could see that, and that's elevating the interaction between the attendees and the speaker. And there's a lot of different elements, right? It was an experience first platform. It was very easy for everyone to use. We didn't use VR headsets, yet he was completely immersed into the space, and there was real engagement. You can see he brought people up on the screen, he brought people up next to him, and it was very easy for him to do. If you look at the top left, he literally had his iPhone and a ring light. And he could stand up, go on the desk, a really, really immersive experience that was also branded to his personal brand and to the iHeartMedia brand. And so no matter in which industry you work in, this applies to you, because virtual experiences need to, apply to every single industry. You have Under Armour, we show them Jugo, right? And they find this a really good way to provide new experiences in retail, immersive experiences. Or in Nova, they are using it to provide immersive booking experiences, so you can book travel like that. WPP, they are increasing engagement. They are getting real-time feedback or arsenal for their fan engagement events. So if I leave you with something today, I want you to remember that content is king, but experience is queen. So please, I'd love to connect. Add me on LinkedIn. We are on booth E12. If you want to get immersed into Jugo, check it out. And we'll open it up for questions now. Thank you.
Any questions that we can take? No questions for our speakers? We're all good?
Good?
That's good.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.